A very good evening, everybody. I welcome you all to another episode of Boost Your Vocabulary with me, Shreya Srivastav, on Pratham's YouTube channel. How are you all doing? And also today we're going to be doing something very different. We have been talking a lot about vocabulary, about words, about a lot of other things. So today I thought I might as well just pick up some phrases that we generally tend to use in our normal lives and probably use some advanced English or some words that I can incorporate in one of the sentences and then probably make our English a little more advanced, right? So I think we've talked about a lot of different British vocabulary and different British phrases earlier as well. So I thought maybe this is the time where we can probably talk furthermore about that and be a little more well versed with the language as such. And then of course when it comes with it comes with vocabulary, right? So we'll be looking at five phrases today. 5 phrases that you may generally use in your normal day-to-day lives, and I'm going to give you some advanced English phrases or vocabulary that you can incorporate in those phrases, right? So that's basically what we're going to be doing. So we'll start with the first one, or I'll just first, before I begin, I'll just let you know of what the phrases are that we're going to be looking at, the normal regular phrases that we generally tend to use in our normal lives. So we're going to be talking about one substitute phrase for stop wasting time. So if you're wasting time, if you waste time or somebody else wastes time, we will probably come up with a phrase or a vocabulary word that we can probably incorporate in a phrase like this. Okay, and then we'll look at you are so lucky. So if I want to say that somebody is very lucky, what is the vocabulary word that I can probably use in place of lucky and in that one phrase, and that will probably help us with our advanced English. Similarly, I'm so tired. So again, we're going to look at one word that probably we'll talk about, or one phrase that's going to talk about this phrase, I'm so tired. So instead of just saying I'm so tired, what can you say other than that? He's indecisive, right? So somebody who is indecisive is somebody who does not make decisions very easily or not very quickly, or is not very good at making decisions. So we'll probably look at one phrase that one word that will probably help us enhance that phrase. And the fifth phrase that we're going to look at is take your time. So we'll look at another phrase that will be a good substitute for take your time. Okay, so those are the 5 phrases that we're going to substitute today, and we're going to look at a better way of saying all these 5 phrases for today. Okay, so we'll start with stop wasting your time. That's basically the first phrase. So so the word or the phrase that we're going to look at is faffing about or faffing around. Stop wasting time. So instead of saying wasting, you can actually say faffing. Okay, so stop faffing about or stop faffing around. Those are 2 phrases that you can use when you're saying that that other person is doing things that are really trivial or are things that are really unimportant or insignificant, right? Basically what we probably tend to do when we're, let's say, mindlessly scrolling on our phones, watching reels, that's basically wasting time, right? So we can actually say that we're faffing about or we're faffing around instead of just wasting time. So that will be our first phrase. Instead of saying stop wasting time, we can say stop faffing around or stop faffing about. So it's to spend time doing unimportant things. That's faffing around and that's faffing about. So I hope that that's something that now you'd be able to phrase well in your sentence. So let's look at that sentence that we have here. It says, I wish you'd stop faffing about and do something useful. So again, something I think everybody must have gone through this phase of life, or at least the phase of the day, where your mom or your dad comes and tells you you're just wasting time and you're not doing anything with your life. So instead of just in your head thinking about stop wasting time, probably every time you get scolded on those lines, you can now think about it saying, okay, I'm faffing about or I'm faffing around instead of just wasting time. So that's our first phrase, right? So faffing about or faffing around, that's when you're wasting time and you're doing things that are unimportant and are kind of mindless. So let's look at the second phrase. The second phrase is lucky, right? So when you say you're very lucky, so instead of saying you're very lucky, you can say you're so jammy. Jammy basically means lucky, or there are a lot of times then you might want to say that jammy is not just lucky, it's actually unfairly lucky. Like it's the kind of lucky you'd not want the other person to be. Okay, so if you're calling somebody jammy, you're just basically saying that they have all the luck and all the fortune with them at this point. That's what you are so jammy means. So instead of saying you're so lucky, We'll say you're so jammy. Sentence: you won the competition without any efforts. You're so jammy. Now look at that undertone in that sentence, that you basically probably did not even deserve winning that competition because you did not even put efforts. So here, being lucky comes with a certain undertone of being unfairly lucky, right? So that's basically what jammy means. So you're so jammy is when you want to call somebody lucky. That was our second phrase. Let's head to our third phrase for the day. Okay, when you're extremely tired, you want to say you are worn to a frazzle. Okay, when somebody is worn to a frazzle, that means they're just very, very tired. And I think we've talked about this other phrase earlier when we were talking about some of the informal phrases from British English. We said knackered. Remember? So when somebody is knackered or is dead tired, that's when you can call this or use this phrase, worn to a frazzle. So when somebody is extremely tired, exhausted, dead to one's feet, that's also another idiom. Dead to one's feet, that's another idiom for this. When you're extremely pooped out or are completely done for, you are very, very tired, exhausted, worn out. You don't want to do anything any further, you can actually say that you're worn to a frazzle. Okay, so by the end of the day, the waitress was worn to a frazzle. That means she was really tired. Also, that comes with a certain level of not just tired in terms of energy, in terms of health, like you're not up to the mark in terms of your health as well sometimes when you're very, very tired, right? So maybe that's also another point that you can look at when you're looking at this word, worn to a frazzle. Okay, so that's our third phrase. I think to be extremely tired is worn to a frazzle. So we did 3 phrases so far. It's stop wasting your time. Instead of that, you can say stop faffing around or faffing about. Then we talked about, the other word, which was you are so lucky. That's the phrase, and you can now replace it saying you are so jammy. For the third one, we said we are extremely tired. Instead of that, you can say worn to a frazzle. And then, of course, other words that we talked about, knackered, dead to one's feet, exhausted, worn out, all of that. Let's head to the fourth phrase for the day. The phrase is wishy washy. Now, when somebody is wishy washy, that means they're very, very indecisive. Like they can't make decisions easily. They always sit on the fence. They don't want to probably take a decision, or they just want to play it cool. So they don't have a lot of firm ideas in their head. They're not very sure of what they want to say, right? So when you're unsure, uncertain in your head about your ideas or about your decisions, you are indecisive, right? Or you basically oscillate. Or the other word that is to be indecisive is when we say they vacillate, right? Remember, I think we've done this word, vacillating and oscillating. When you're basically coming back and forth on your decisions, that's basically that. So you can use the word wishy-washy for them. So that's an adjective or a phrase that you can use. So somebody who is very, very indecisive, you can say that you're wishy-washy. Okay, you don't know how to make good decisions, or you don't have really firm ideas, or you half the time don't even know what you're saying or what you mean to say. So you can actually call that person wishy-washy. Okay. Sentence-wise, the candidate gave a few unsatisfactory wishy-washy answers. That means in his answers, he was not very, very sure of what he was saying. He was nervous, maybe. He wasn't very sure of his ideas. So he was not very firm, alright. There was no definition in his answers. And so he was maybe vacillating, maybe he was indecisive, whether he wants to say a yes or a no. So you can actually call that person wishy-washy. Okay, that's our fourth phrase. Let's head to the fifth phrase for the day, which is take your time. So this is also another easy one, when you are basically saying that you can take your time. You don't have to rush into your decision, or you don't have to give me your answer right away, or you still have a lot of time at hand. So when you want to say something like that, or any one of those, you can actually say time is on your side. Okay, so time is on your side basically means that you can take your time. You don't have to rush. If there is no hurry, that is when you say time is on your side. So sentence wise, it says we don't have to make a decision till next week. So time is on your side. That means you don't have to rush into making any decision. And you're chill, it's all right, you can take your time, you're all cool, so you can say time is on your side. So all those 5 phrases, I hope that they are helpful. I'm just going to very quickly talk about them one more time. So we started with we talked about time. Take your time, just time is on your side. If you're very very exhausted, you say I am knackered or I am worn to a frazzle. Then we talked about you're so lucky, so you can say you're so jammy. We spoke of stop wasting your time, so you say stop faffing around or stop faffing about. And if somebody is indecisive, they are wishy-washy, right? So I hope that you had fun learning these 5 phrases, and please go back to this video every time you want to probably watch it again and use this in your normal diction, because this actually makes your language a little more advanced, and it kind of makes you also feel a little more erudite and well read. Okay, so until next time that I see you, I hope you had fun and you have a good night. Take care of yourselves. I'm going to see you on Thursday with another session on Boost Your Vocabulary. Until then, bye bye.